Welcome to Searching for Salvation. As we have done every session, we've stated our goals, which are quite simply that we want to try to show our brethren the importance of an individual study of the Bible. We're not asking anyone also to accept anything that I might believe or my opinions. That would be defeating the entire purpose of what we're trying to do here. Now, we've spent over 20 sessions talking about this, talking about the importance of the Bible and that we should know it and so forth and so on. So this session here is going to be the last one that we do for a while, because I think everything's been said that needs to be said, at least in my limited intelligence. But just a few parting words about, before we leave this subject completely, is this. I want to reiterate that the reason that I think this is so important is that I believe that the Bible was written to each and every individual Christian. It was written for him to study and to understand. And I believe it can be understood, provided you put the effort into it. And that's what's led my study ever since, well, for years. And how I have come up, have my opinions based upon that. But I base them on my own study, and that's what everyone needs to do. I've talked about the fact that we're going to be judged by the Word of God, and that how important we need to learn from the Scriptures and other Scriptures. But what I'm saying is this. What I've learned is quite simply this. Given what Jesus said in the Great Commission and what we see in Acts and in Romans and in Corinthians and in Peter, all these verses having to do with how do you become a Christian. And any honest historian, Bible historian, would have to agree that in the first century church, they baptized by immersion. Now, I'm not saying that you have to agree that that's what has to be done to finish your salvation, the salvation process. I happen to believe that. After that, we need to work out our salvation in fear and trembling. We've got divisions everywhere. In the Church of Christ, where I was baptized, I have no idea how many there are, but I know there are many. And many of the things that we're divided over really are not important. And I base this on the simple fact that what Paul said in Romans about when he was talking about the Ten Commandments. The Ten Commandments, what they accomplished is they caused the people to sin, because they knew what it was. So if they knew what coveting was, but then they went ahead and did it anyway, that was a sin. Making rules and regulations don't work. They don't work. And to be frank with you, Jesus died so we'd be free from that. The last teaching, the white got him so much trouble with the Jews his brethren, was that he taught on the and healed on the Sabbath day. And he was trying to get them to understand what was important, and that there's nothing more important than alleviating suffering. He didn't tell them not to stop keeping the Sabbath. He just said, what's more important than that is to help people if somebody needs help, and you can help them. I believe that that's what we're supposed to do, because we're told in when he's on the mountain, and James and Peter and John are there, and Jesus is transfigured, and he's dressed in white, and he has Elijah and Moses there with him, and they were very, very, well, you know how they felt about Moses, but they were very influential people in the history of the Israelites. Well, Peter, of course, said, well, let's put up 3 little tabernacles and offer, make an offering to all 3 of them. And of course, we know what happens. What happened? There was a mist that came over them. When it cleared out, there was only Jesus there. And God told us, this is my son, listen to him. One of the very last things that we see in the book of John is Peter, as usual, not fully understanding what Jesus had said. He wanted to know, he asked him a question about John. And Jesus says, what does that matter to you? You follow me. We're supposed to follow Jesus Christ. And the only way I know that we can do that and find out what we're supposed to do is in that book right there. If we don't use the book, then what can we use? I mean, we have to accept what somebody else tells us. And when I was young, I had to have that happen to me. I was told this is what I should believe, and so forth and so on. And then when I got older, I decided to study for myself. And I found out that some of the things I was told, I didn't agree with, because I didn't see it in the scriptures. But the point of what we've been trying to do is not to cause trouble or to cause arguments, but it's just to show that there's more in that book than you might think. And it's put there for us, and we need to use it. If we want to be able to stand before Jesus Christ on the day of judgment, and be able to give him an answer concerning his word, the only way we can do that is if we're familiar with his word. The only way we can do that is by opening the book and studying it. If we don't do that, we do so at our own peril. I believe what's most important for a Christian is quite simply to follow as closely as possible to what Jesus did. And that was, he healed people, he helped them, fed them, and then he preached to them. We don't quite do that way anymore. Our budgets for helping people are very small. We've decided, most of Christendom has decided to have the buildings, and a fine preacher is fine. Nothing wrong with that. That's a decision. that the powers in be, that the elders at that particular congregation has to make. Is Jesus pleased with it? I don't know. He knows. And they'll find out in that last day. I firmly believe that the only thing, the most important thing, is not keeping the Sabbath or not following rules and regulations that we, Sunday, we have to do Sunday, we have to do this, we have to do that. Is don't worry about that. Quit worrying about, this divisiveness, and simply look around and see where the people are that need help. And to the best of our ability, help them. These sessions are recorded, and they will remain on YouTube. And Jesus Christ will do whatever He wills with them. I'm going to spend, our little group is going to start trying to spend our efforts on helping people. And that's going to take pretty well all of our energies. And it's been a pleasure, and I've really enjoyed having these sessions. I know I got a lot out of them. I hope some of you did as well. Hope you have a good week, and God bless you.